When management came in, what did they tell you about why you were fired this week?
I think, bottom line, let's just be clear. I mean, we didn't win enough. At the end of the day, when you look at it, we didn't win enough games. Don't matter how you cut it, regardless of what they said or how they said it, you got to win enough games. These jobs, there's 32 of them, and I was fortunate and blessed by Dee and Jimmy to have the opportunity to be one of 32. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, you got to win enough games, and we didn't.
Why didn't you win enough games, Coach?
Well, I think, obviously this year, when I look at our team, we were in a lot of games. When I think of the 4 overtime games, again, it comes back to us as coaches first. We needed to coach better, put our guys in a situation to finish those games at the end. Because if you do, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. But at the same time, I think our players, they would tell you they fought as hard as they could. They did everything they could to give us an opportunity to win those games. We just did not get it done.
Coach, how would you describe your relationship with OC Todd Haley?
Again, I hired Todd. I brought Todd into the organization. I understood the personality I was getting when I brought him in. Greg Williams is no different. Again, because I thought we needed guys that could change the narrative in Cleveland. I think we needed strong personalities to lead both sides of the ball because we need to come out and play extremely well. So, again, my relationship with Todd is still my relationship with him. And what I mean by that, we haven't talked since we both departed. But I think, again, I think we respect each other's football coaches.
If you could do it again, would you bring Todd Haley in?
Well, I think I said it very clearly. In my mind, I got this job because I was an offensive coach. But when you go, 1-15 or 0-16, I think people forget that you still do know how to coach. And so at the time, we made a decision to move in a different direction, kind of let me be the CEO of the organization and bring in an offensive coordinator. When you look back at it now, I wish I would have kept doing what I was doing, what got me the job in the first place.
A couple of things I wanted to get into, and a couple of questions obviously will be somewhat dicey, but I got to ask you. First things first, did you really hire Todd Haley?
Yes, I did.
And Greg Williams? So, because you have people out there that are looking at the GM and they're thinking that it was forced upon you to have those coordinators. Those were your hires?
Yeah, that was my hires. And those hires were very strategic for me. I knew that Todd Haley was a proven offensive play caller, veteran play caller in our division. Why would you not? Let's be honest. I knew I was on the clock. You can't be 1-15, 0-16 and think, you can go through the season and not win football games. So I wanted to surround myself with guys that have done it and done it at a high level. And Todd Haley was definitely one of those
We also
guys.
look at your, like you said, you've been an offensive coordinator. You were an offensive coordinator in Washington, in Atlanta, obviously Cincinnati and what have you. A head coach for 1 year in 2011 in Oakland. We get all of that. But when I think about what you're talking about in terms of you having an offensive mind, you also knew the reputation of Todd Haley when you hired him. So you didn't have to go that route. You're well respected, and a lot of people in the NFL know you. You're friends with a lot of those guys. Why Todd Haley above so many others when you knew what kind of personality that he may have had?
And I respect you asking that question, but when I think back through, when I think of our division, I think the fastest way to make an impact with a team that hadn't won a lot of games is in your division. Here's a guy, as I mentioned earlier, had done a great job within the division of playing these teams and been very successful. Why not Todd Haley? Again, everybody has different personalities, but at the end of the day, if it's truly about winning, you do what you think is best to put the team in a situation to have success.
Coach, I appreciate your accountability and humility in talking about your record. I think we all do. But the reason I think that all three of us are asking about Todd Haley is the reports are that your relationship with Todd Haley was at the center of your firing. You heard the owner, Jimmy Haslam, talking about internal discord. How much did your relationship with Todd Haley contribute to you being fired this week?
Jimmy and John would have to answer that question. I don't really think it was truly just about internal discord. I said that. I think that's a strong word. I think you have disagreements with coaches, with Todd, with Greg Williams, with Amos Jones, who's also the special teams coordinator. I don't think that's internal discord. I think when you look at it, as I said earlier, the organization made a decision going a different direction. I think when you look at the record from the first 2 years combined to where we were at that particular point in time, I think me coming out and saying that I wanted to help and assist in the offensive football team. And I think when you really stop to look at it, it's truly, really about Baker Mayfield. I think they want to do everything they can to put him in a situation. You got the first pick of the draft, who I think is going to be a franchise quarterback, who's going to be a sensational player. and he's not playing as well. So again, here is a perfect storm to move forward and move on, and I have to respect the decision that they made.
Coach, get to Baker Mayfield in a second, but two of the things that have been reported about and talked about were from Hard Knocks, which, I love watching Hard Knocks because you get to be a fly on the wall. But two moments that are held against you in press reports, especially of the firing, were with Todd Haley when he used the word scared, right? Like we can't be, or fears, we can't coach from our fears, something like that.
Can't live in our fears.
Can't live in our fears.
Seems like you remember that well.
And then also Tyrod Taylor talking to you about accountability, and the way that's been framed by some media reports is it makes you look, for lack of a better term, weak. They're trying to kind of frame it that way.
Well,
what do you say to that?
I think you just said it. I think people frame things the way they want to. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of this stuff is about sound bites. When I think back to the Tyrod Taylor situation first, Tyrod wasn't telling me what to do. Tyrod was making a suggestion because I was talking about the offense getting in and out of the huddle faster. He said, Coach, maybe what you need to do is video it so everybody can see it. I thought that was a great suggestion. That was nothing more than that. And the first point that you mentioned about is just living in our fears. Yeah. I think Todd's point was, I didn't want to get guys injured. We had done a great job of really using the data that we had in our facility to stop with soft tissue injuries. We hadn't had any. And I think when you come from a different organization, everybody does things differently. But we did the work and knew without question that if we did it the way that we did it, we would not get anybody injured. And so I think he didn't understand, nor was that important to him to understand exactly what we had done 2 years prior to where we had no soft tissue injuries. So I think that's where all that came from.